podcast for your soul, your compass, your journey, your light. Welcome to Podcast for Your Soul. This podcast is for light workers who like to get inspired and are interested to listen to spiritual teachers from around the world. And I'm super excited that my guest today is Dr. Frank Kinslow. Dr. Kinslow is an international best-selling author, and he's the founder of the Kinslow System. He is the discoverer of Quantum Entrainment, a rapid healing technique, and the Kinslow Happiness Technique, a proven system for inner and outer happiness. Frank is considered a spiritual visionary and teacher of profound clarity and depth. Frank has been researching and teaching the applied application of health and healing techniques for more than 50 years. Frank is the author of 9 books, including The Secret of Instant Healing and How to Be Happy Without Even Trying. I love that title. So he resides in Sarasota in Florida with his wife, Martina. So Frank, welcome to my show. I feel honored, privileged, and excited to have you.
Well, Nico, it's so good to be with you again. As you well remember, we spent some good time together at the beginning of the QE movement, and those are times I cherish still.
And thank you so much. And it's the same with me. What I learned when I received the coaching with you in Sarasota, I had the honor to be one-on-one 2 weeks with you. I never forget that. There was such a breakthrough for me. It started already when I was reading your book and doing the pure awareness exercise, and I was surprised that it worked just from a book. Therefore, I wanted to connect with you, and then I got the opportunity. I think that it's a rare gift to have the honor to be in your presence. And really, that was one of the most blissful times in my life, where I just stayed with you in Sarasota, and I learned so much about pure awareness, the quantum entrainment, and so on.
Well, you're welcome back anytime.
Yes. Yeah, well, I love to come back. All right. So, Frank, for the listeners out there who are not familiar with this quantum entrainment, can you share a little bit how you discovered this healing technique and what it does to the audience?
Yeah, I was 61 years old, and I was deeply in debt. My physical health was terrible. I had no social life. In fact, I was making less money every month than I owed on the interest on my loans. And then I lost my job. They cut back a number of the personnel. And so I went home and I sat around on the couch. I had nothing else to do, but I sat there and I started thinking, well, you know, I've done all of these studies and I looked for peace and I've looked for happiness my whole life. And here I am, you know, at 61 and I'm miserable. And what's going on here? So I thought, well, I'm going to sit on this couch until I figure out what the problem is. And so I started throwing out everything in my life that didn't work. I went back through my whole life, and everything that didn't work, I threw it out. And then everything I was doing that at that present time that didn't work, I set it aside. I said, that's not working. Why should I continue with it? Well, I ended up sitting on the couch for 3 days. And at the end of 3 days, I had virtually thrown out everything in my life. And I started to get depressed. And I thought, well, there's nothing left. And then I thought, well, I have nothing to lose. And as soon as I stopped trying to get something, to get happiness, to get peace, or to get away from the discomfort that I felt, the anxiety and the loneliness that I felt, as soon as I stopped trying to do that, I was at peace. And I said, wow, what can I do? I can try and keep that peace. And as soon as I tried to keep the peace, it went away again. And so I stopped trying. And then pretty soon what happened was a realization that there is nowhere to go and there's nothing to do if you want to be at peace, if you want to be happy. All the other stuff is you can do that. I'm not saying don't do things, but it has to be built on this foundation of not doing. And that may sound contradictory or in some way counterintuitive, but out of that, I realized there was a perception that I had that I called you feeling. And that you feeling then became the foundation. It's you feeling is that part of us that we're born with, that is at peace, that doesn't move, that in fact is always there. And then we tend to cover it up as we go through our lives and get more responsibilities and start trying and trying to. It's that part of us that doesn't have to try. And so then what I found was that I started healing. I started feeling better physically and emotionally on every level. And even socially, it started getting out. And so I wondered, well, my gosh, this you feeling thing, I wonder if it can be transferred or taught to another person. And it was. I could do it person to person. And I thought, well, maybe I could write it down. And I did. And of course, the first book was published in Germany. And that's the one I think that you read, and called Quantum Entrainment. Yeah. In fact, at the time, which was 9 or 10 years ago, there were only 2 books with that title. One of them was out of print in all of Amazon.de. And within 2 years, there were over 150 titles with quantum in it, quantum healing, this and that. And so it spurred this sort of real, a kind of a revival to be happy and be one yourself. I was pretty excited to see that and to watch that evolve. But what I noticed was that people were just using it for healing, for taking it, and then they wouldn't deal with it, and unless they had to heal something, and maybe they got burned or this or that, whatever. So then I developed the Kinslow Happiness System, and this is a more concerted program, a more structured program that very quickly evolves this you feeling in our lives, so that we start becoming healthier and happier, both inwardly and outwardly.
Yeah, beautiful. So I also have so many workshops in my memory where I was allowed to join with you in Germany, in Hamburg, Kirchzarten, and Frankfurt. And I found it so amazing that, let's say, an audience of 500 or more people, specifically on the second day, that did a QE exercise, and everything was in silent and bliss. And to get that with everyone, it was not that you felt, or some people, they felt it. No, it was just everyone. And just to witness that was so inspiring for me. And then it was so easy in that, how should I say, that amplified field of many people to experience that you feeling. And then.
Well, do you remember what the dirty word was in QE, what we didn't use? Do you remember that?
To do, or?
Yeah, what is the thing, the word that we don't do, the one dirty word? Go ahead.
Try. I just want to.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yes, I got it. Yeah.
So, as soon as we stop trying, see, that was the message that I learned. Yes. Is stop trying, and just let it go. Now, this is not a new philosophy, but the technique is revolutionary. How do you not try, right? I mean, in other words, for instance, if you have a meditation technique, or someone just says to you, hey, be present, be here, be now, how do you do that? Because as soon as you start doing something, you're not trying, you're not doing, right? If not doing is doing nothing. And if you want to do nothing, you can't do a technique. You can't do something to do nothing. So what we did in these workshops, and that you found out very quickly, I just kept saying, okay, stop trying. All right, this is how we do it. And we go back to you feeling. That's the ticket. you feeling is the hub around which all health and happiness revolves. That, and all of our increased perceptions, for instance, if you want to perceive, other levels of life, or if you want to perceive combinations of things, become more creative, all of that is founded on you feeling. And you feeling, you can't try to get it, you can't control it, you can't own it. But when you experience it, then everything in your life starts to order up, becomes orderly. And we know that. It's just that what we don't know is how to not do, how to not try.
And yes, and I think I'm a great testimonial for that, because after this, my life changed. I mean, the relationship improved, my happiness improved, my health improved, my job improved. But also I didn't push as much as I used to. Yeah. And so doors opened up, things did happen. I became more relaxed. And then, I just, how do you say, I embraced that you feeling, this euphoric feeling, which for me is like, the way I would describe it as an innate joy. It's and I feel it in my body. So it comes from the solar plexus mainly. That it starts usually, and then I have to smile. I can't stop, and then it just and then is what you just said before. This experience in that moment, there is nothing to do and nowhere to go. Because where else? What do I want to do? If I have that, if that's appearing. Yeah. And initially, my biggest challenge was, and you taught me that I almost became addicted to it, because I was just hunting for that feeling. And what did I do? I was trying again. So that was quite a challenge for me, and it took me a long time till I really came to a place where I don't do anything. I just wait and ask, "Where's my you feeling now?" Thank you, and it just happened. Yeah.
Well, that's a human experience, Nico. That your experience is just like every one of us in this world. I mean, this ability to become aware of you feeling, we have it naturally as children, but it gets all covered up and distorted and bruised and broken as we grow up. So QE and the Kinslow Happiness System, they don't repair anything. There's nothing to repair. You feeling is still waiting. It's just that we stop trying and we let it rise. It's like the sun rising. There's you feeling. And what do you have to do to bring light to your world when the sun rises? Nothing. You just enjoy the light that is shed around you as the sun rises and continues to rise. And so you can throw out, you don't throw out, it just naturally balances this inner and this outer. We always say, well, I'm an inner person, I want inner peace. And so I do all of these things, and then you do them for years, and maybe you have a little peace during it, and then it starts to come out after 20, 30 years. Research shows us various techniques. The peace starts to come. But when you experience you feeling right away, when you stop trying to do a technique and you do QE, which is a non-technique, if you will, then you feeling begins to rearrange or purify is a better way to say it. It helps to eliminate those blocks, and then you become more and more yourself, not what somebody else tells you should be. I love it when I see the followers of a guru or some motivational speaker. They look and they sound like, namaste, and they have flowers and beads, as if that's what the guru is talking about. They're trying to do something to create that good when it's just simply not doing. And it's pretty hard to understand intellectually. It's you can't understand it until the experience is there, and then you can't explain it. You just know, this is it.
Yeah. Yes, it's challenging to find words to describe it. Yeah, but so for me it was the same. So for years and years, I went to India, I lived in ashrams, I meditated for hours and hours and hours, and then I had this occasional bliss. Yeah. And then I was reading your book, and I did the pure awareness exercise, and I was like, boom. And then I went to Petra next day. I said, Petra, I need to try something on you. okay, I read something, it's a meditation, I want you to know what happened with you. And she got the same bliss. Yeah. And then we were just looking at each other and say, you know what? I mean, we are meditating for 20 years. And now we just read a book and we have that experience. What is that all about? And that's where the desire came from, to connect with you. And then it brought us together, and I learned so much. And no matter what I do, it's like the pure awareness and the you feeling is just the base of everything. And it never left, it never changed. It's
Yeah, and you know, the point you make here is the base of everything. And this is not the Kinslow system. This is not QE. That's the base of everything. This is just the technique to experience you feeling. You feeling is the base of everything. You feeling is you in your essence. See, that's the difference. If you are trying to get something and control it, it can't be you, right? It's beyond you if you're trying to control it. And as soon as you become aware of your essence, another word, you feeling, then you don't have to do anything. It's like, oh, this is what I'm really like. You know, my mother told me I should be like this, and my teachers told me I should be like this, and my father said this. And you know what? I'm my own person now, because as you feeling comes out, it just, I start to be me. I play my own music rather than what other people are trying. You know, before that, and this happens more than not, and I'd say 99% of us in this world, is that we listen to other people, other authorities, and then we do what we think is right, and we push ourselves aside. And when we start to know, become aware of, simply aware of our essence, in this case, you feel, then it's like this. It's like we stop. Here's a good analogy. Somebody says, "Hey, you should be playing the drums." Boom, 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 and oh, okay, I'm pretty good. It's not great, but and then you become aware of you feeling. You say, "No, I'm a violin guy," and as soon as you start playing the violin, you say, oh, now I'm playing my own music, not what somebody else told me. And that's what QE does, is it puts you in touch with you feeling. And the Kinslow Happiness System does it, and then expands it on the level psychological. So, that's all. That's all you need, because you just become more of you. And I'm glad you pointed that out.
Yeah. So for the listeners who do not know the process, would you mind to walk us through the two-finger system, the way you connected initially people to the quantum entrainment method?
Yeah, I can explain it. I'm not sure they really need to become first aware of you feeling. So we normally teach it as a pure awareness technique, and then once you feeling is vibrant, then the triangulation, we call it, works. But you know, if we have maybe just a little longer, we could do the nothing technique.
Yeah, that would be wonderful.
Yes. Well, let's do that. It will take about 3 or 4 minutes. We have that time?
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime you want. Yeah.
Good.
Awesome.
Good.
Thank you. Yes.
There's a way to do it. And this is what you'll find. Well, I'm not going to tell you what you'll find. You know, I'll leave that up to your audience. But what we do need is, for this one, we need to close our eyes. So let's just sit comfortably and close our eyes and just let your mind wander wherever it wants to go. Make sure there are no interruptions around. You can just sit there. We're going to do this for just maybe 10 or 15 seconds. Just let your mind wander. Now, easily become aware of your thoughts. The content does not matter, just the fact that you're thinking. Become aware of your thoughts. And just watch them come and go. Kind of like a movie, you know, watching a movie on the screen of your mind. Now, thinking is like talking, like having a conversation. It's not continuous. There are breaks in our thinking. So what I'd like you to do is easily just wait, watch your thoughts, and wait for the break between thoughts. There'll be a little space between thoughts. There'll be nothing in that space. Let's just wait for that to happen. And when that nothing comes along between thoughts, just let your awareness go with the nothing instead of the thoughts. What will happen is your mind will be with the nothing for a little while, your awareness, and then you'll be thinking again. So, oh, I'm thinking again. Then just watch your thoughts until the nothing is there again. And just, you're not doing anything, you're not holding on to the nothing, you're not trying to make it come or stop. No, just observing the nothing when it's there. Now, just let everything go again, just let your mind wander. Now let your awareness come back to your thoughts again. Just watch them just like you did before. And this time, instead of waiting for the space between the thoughts, the nothing that's there, watch your thoughts now. Become aware of your thoughts. Now just look beyond your thoughts to the nothing that's there. Let your awareness be with that nothing. After a while, your thoughts will be coming again. You'll be aware that you're thinking again. Then just look beyond the thoughts to the nothing that's there. Again, you're not trying to hold on to the nothing. You're not trying to remove thoughts. You're just simply observing the nothing, either between the thoughts, that's up to you, either between the thoughts or beyond the thoughts. Let's continue on our own for a little while. And now, just let your mind wander wherever it wants to go. And when you feel comfortable then, let's all slowly open our eyes. Don't be in a hurry, take your time. Good. So you see, we did nothing, and we feel more relaxed in the body and more peaceful in the mind, or blissful, or some good feeling. And we didn't start out and say, oh, this is a technique for deep relaxation and inner peace. We just simply became aware of nothing, which means when we were aware of the nothing, we're doing nothing. So we just stopped doing, right? And then it has all the change in the world. And some people prefer to find the nothing between thoughts. Some prefer to look beyond. Doesn't matter. The nothing is the nothing. There you go, a little taste of it.
Beautiful, thank you. And I'm sure the listeners, they will thoroughly enjoy that. And it's always different to have an experience themselves. And for me, just what I felt, I feel grateful, but it's just being grateful beyond any boundaries. It's just grateful for life, for everything. And it was also when you said, come back to your thought, I couldn't. I was just, no, I have a question, Frank. How would you describe who in a human being has the capacity to observe nothing?
Mm-hmm. Well, see, your mind is always active and has various parts, has the emotions, has the intellect, and it's always doing something. And to do something, you have to work with something that has form, right? And so that's what the mind does. So what I discovered in QE and Kinslow Happiness System was how to show the mind that there's also nothing going on. For instance, here's an analogy. I ask you to watch the thoughts go across the screen of your mind like a movie. Basically, when you go into a movie and you see the screen up there before it starts, it's blank, right? And then the film shows, and then you get wrapped up in it, and you're like the hero, and oh my gosh, he gets to kiss the other person and whatever you get all these emotions and laughing, right? And it's all illusion, all projected on the screen. Look this way, on the screen at the movie. Well, that's the same thing. All of this thinking has behind it the nothing. All of creation. In fact, this is borne out by quantum mechanical theory. It's called the quantum vacuum. And the definition of the quantum vacuum is the nothing from which everything comes. So when we perceive this nothing, or another name for it is pure you feeling, when we perceive this pure you feeling, then everything stops. And let me tell you one other thing too. First of all, you could, if you just did this for 15 minutes once or twice or even 3 times a day, just this, it's the most powerful meditation that you can begin with. And I'll tell you why. Because that experience of nothing, that is the deepest level of rest that a human being can experience. This was established in 1970 on research by Dr. Robert Keith Wallace, published in Science magazine. Basically, what he found was that even deeper than deep sleep is when we experience this nothing.
Yeah.
The deeper the rest, the deeper the healing. It's just that simple. And healing takes place body, mind, and chemistry. Our chemistry has to balance. If your chemistry is off, you get everything else is off. This does all at one time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a profound healing method, but just by doing nothing. What else do we want?
That's the starting point, right?
Yeah.
And when you took QE, you did the QE training, you realized that. Now, you've gone on with your life, but it's a part of your life.
Yeah.
It's a foundation. Not QE necessarily, but you feeling. QE is only an introduction to you feeling, and then you feeling should be. Now, when we do the happiness work, the Kinslow Happiness System, we start with this nothing technique. And then we have 3 other techniques that we add to it. It's extremely powerful, extremely valuable for creating a stability of you feeling inwardly. And then the second stroke is how to bring that out so that it's expressed. It's naturally expressed anyhow. But we accelerate that process during that.
I read. So you talk about like 3 phases of happiness and two forms of scientific happiness. Can you explain more about that? I'm curious.
Well, the 2 forms of happiness, psychologically, psychologists call it intrinsic, extrinsic. We could say inner and outer happiness. Okay, but what is it? First of all, what is happiness? And happiness is basically awareness of you feeling. Now, happiness is such a general word, and especially in German, it's what is it? Glück, something.
Glücklich.
But that doesn't catch it. Happiness is such a catch-all word because it's like a basket. And into that basket, you can put peace, joy, love, compassion, sense of well-being, healthy ego, awe, excitement. love.
Mm.
All of those things are reflections of happiness.
Mm.
And so that's the inner happiness, right? The inner happiness has to be, you have to experience you feeling first to build that inner happiness. Now, you don't have to stay there. Right away, you start building the outer happiness.
Mm.
Outer happiness is, the way we practice it is we say, oh, I want to get some money. So it's on material things. There's nothing wrong with that. What usually causes all the discomfort and the problems is that we don't have you feeling to balance. Because you get your money and you're happy, you lose your money and become unhappy. With you feeling, you get your money, enjoy it. You don't get your money, then you go on and do something else, or you do something to get it back or whatever. But you're still at peace. You're still at one. You're still whole. You're still healthy. So, the inner and the outer happiness should come together. Now, there are a lot of esoteric teachings that poo-poo the outer happiness. I mean, yes, it's materialistic. But that's crazy. It's there. Why is it there? It's for us to use. Yes. But we can't use it if we don't have our foundation of stillness. If in fact we are lost to ourselves, remember, if we're playing drum music instead of the music we should be playing, right? Then we'll never be happy. We can't. We're just doing things because we think they're going to work. So as we stop doing, perceive you feeling, and starts to build. And then the Kinslow Happiness System is how to build a strong foundation, and then how to share it. And part of that is actually what you do during your, what we call a self session. It's the process that you do inwardly to develop inner happiness. You can share with other people, just like we do QE. You can actually share this whole process and have them go through a happiness session with you. It's quite remarkable. Now, the three legs of happiness, or elements of happiness, you can't have happiness with just the mind. Most people think it's an emotional state. Well, it is that, but it's also physical. You never are happy without the body coming along, right? You feel happy, then you have some liveliness or peace or some sense of well-being in the body. So there's that too. And then the chemistry, which I mentioned earlier. All three of them have to balance. When we become aware of you feeling, naturally, without any effort on our part, all three balance.
I like that you talk about this chemistry. I never had that so on my radar till Petra started to change our nutrition with lots of green foods, superfoods, and then somehow I just recognize now if I eat unhealthy, there is something in the chemistry in my body is missing, is changing. Yeah, and sometimes, let's say I drink a certain juice, it's not even in my system, but it's like the brain is like having a party and say, yeah, there it comes, and it's a certain chemistry. And just to angle that with the mind and body, I never heard about that someone has such a clarity to address that.
Well, you can't affect one without the other. If you had a stool with three legs, okay, body, mind, chemistry, you pull one leg, the other two come along, right? So if you have a perceptual event, for instance, if you see a dog get hit by a car, right? That's perceiving, and it goes into the mind, and you'll have you'll probably become agitated in some way. But the body changes too, doesn't it? You start going into fight or flight. Your eyes dilate, your cardiac output increases, blood gases change. Adrenaline flows, that's a chemistry. See? And maybe some insulin if you needed to get going, and so on and so forth. So every single moment of the day, you're trying to create balance between body, mind, and chemistry. And what we do is we take time out, we do the Kinslow system or the QE technique, and that immediately balances for that period of time. Now, once we then come out, as you've experienced, once we're done, it's like a memory. That balance stays there to some degree. We're better off. and then that just builds very quickly. Whereas in the research shows that doing techniques like focused attention, that would be like loving kindness work, the qigong work, that kind of stuff. You you will start to see the same brainwave patterns outside of your meditation as in after 20 to 30 years. Same thing is true basically with the no mind, the Zen kinds of things, and some other techniques. It still takes a long time to start seeing the results outside of your practice. When we do QE, we start seeing them immediately outside, and within 10 to 15 days, automatically our life starts rearranging kind of in our favor, not kind of, but definitely in our favor. Just like if we had iron filings on a piece of paper and we take a magnet and put it there, those filings become orderly. You feeling is the magnet. There you go.
That lands.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So I'm curious, you said also with the happiness, it's even measurable. So how do you measure that?
Oh, well, the same way. You can measure the physiological response. If you were to do, let's say you were to go into a medical doctor's office and he were to do blood pressure, blood sugar, all of that, right? Then you did either QE, and you'd have to do it for 10 or 15 minutes for the machines to register. But either one of those, then had him do those again, you'd see that they'd normalize. What that means, if you had high blood pressure, it would come down. If you had low blood pressure, it would come up. If you had high blood sugar, diabetes, it will tend to come down, and it will tend to normalize. And a quick story, I had a woman in one of my classes, workshops, where she had diabetes and had to inject, and she was getting low blood sugar, and we were just starting, high blood sugar, and we were just starting to do an exercise, and she thought, I really should go out and inject, but I'll stay here, because she tested her blood.
Yeah.
And then we did the exercise, and then afterwards she felt pretty good, so she took her blood again, and it was normal.
Wow.
And this is not uncommon at all.
Yeah.
So whatever the problem is, just let me make this quick statement. No matter what the problem is, whether it's psychological, whether it's physical, or whether it's chemical, when we do QE / the happiness program, it normalizes it. It helps it come into balance.
Yeah. No, I get it. Yeah, Petra is also using like a microscope. I don't know the English. It's called Dunkelfeld. So it's in darkness. And she takes a look at the blood before and after treatment. And the easiest way to recognize, even I can do it, I'm an amateur in that field, but I'm just interested. So you can see how much stress levels are in the blood and how you improve.
I think that in the States we call that darkfield microscopy.
Yes, that's it. Yeah. That's the way how you measure it.
Yeah. So it's an amazing thing that we're getting more and more refined in our ability to test things. There's a lot of neurological work. This psychoneurological research in the last 15 years has brought a lot of really neat things about. And they're the people who want to deal with happiness, living a better life. So we're learning a lot of things. But what we haven't learned yet is how to not do and just go right to it, and just start experiencing that fullness, that healing power, that happiness feeling.
Yeah. I also understood that you have a new project you're working on, which is basically to create an international healing and happiness community.
Yeah.
Can you share more about this? I'm curious. I want to know.
Early stages right now, but we're building around people who do QE, but then we'll expand it beyond that. in a very short time, we'll have a new website up, and it will be more conducive to this kind of work. But here's the idea: is that you hear, oh, we're all one, and we should come together, and we should have peace. Well, that's fine up here. That's an emotional or an intellectual construct. But that's only one thing, right? We need three things. We need the body and the chemistry to follow along with that. So what we're going to do in this, you might want world peace. This person might want to have a healthy body. This one might want to get rid of their diabetes, right? Free field. So what's the foundation for all three? You feel. So what we plan to do is to make you feeling available to all of these various people, have them get together with others of like mind, based on the thing that brings them all together, not a concept, but basically you feeling, and then develop their concepts, develop their health programs, and develop giving. Also, this is a sharing thing. I like the old Czech proverb, happiness given is happiness doubled.
Yes.
So you're happy.
Yeah.
And in fact, loneliness in the United States is one of it's epidemic proportions. I'm just writing a new book right now on happiness, and one of the pieces of research I just looked at was that loneliness can be equal to 15, smoking 15 cigarettes a day.
Wow.
Which means in terms of mortality rate, it's higher than even obesity, which is a big problem here in the state.
Yeah.
So loneliness comes from separation from you feeling. Who am I? What is my place in the world? What is my purpose? And that all gets leveled out, that all gets answered. When you're aware of you feeling, you're not lonely, you're not sad, you're not angry, you're not looking to make $1 million. And then, for instance, if you're doing you feeling, aware of you feeling, then when you come out, that stays with that orderliness. Remember the magnet. When you take the magnet away, the orderliness stays, and then you go out and you move it around a little bit in activity. Oh, I am going to make more money. Oh, I am going to have greater health and that sort of. So it's the foundation for anything that you want to do, and that community is based on that. It should be a lot of fun and a lot of vibrancy. Meet some great people.
Yeah, and that's also
the best thing to do is to get our newsletter, and then we'll keep you in touch. It's a free newsletter, and we'll keep you in touch as to when that community starts to develop.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Excellent, thank you. Yeah, so I will also make sure that the link, which is www.kinslowsystem.com, will be mentioned in all the podcasts and Spotify and also on YouTube. And you also do live webinars, and I believe the next one is on June 5th. So what happens on a live webinar? Okay.
Well, of course, I'm there interacting. We have, you can learn Quantum Entrainment, the basic, advanced, and the you feeling. I have them already for you, taped or videoed for you. But I'm still doing the happiness ones live. And this is it's a remarkable, I love doing it because we see changes in people who are depressed or who are just, they don't have ambition, or maybe they, they live in clutter and they just, or of course of the other problems, health and that sort of thing. But what we do is we find just within the first 2 or 3 weeks, these people's lives start turning right around. I just love that.
Yes.
I just love that because, as human beings, our ancient ancestors, part of our survival, of course, was fighting bad, animals and hunting and all of that. And then there was the tribe. And part of interacting with the tribe, grooming each other and communicating with each other, part of it was being happy. We just found that out. It's a genetic predisposition in the human being to be happy. Yeah. And when that doesn't happen, then we become distorted. And so what we find is as that happiness comes out, we become more human. We become more alive. And during these workshops, and I make you work too. That's called a workshop or a webinar.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I meant webinar, but I make you work. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's a full inner. The first part is inner happiness. Second part is outer happiness.
Yeah, and obviously the advantage, people can take it from their home. I don't need to come to Sarasota. Also, I love it, but I think that's the luxury we have with this virtual tools also. And I'm sure many people will sign up. But again, as I said, I will mention the link and people can click on it and get the newsletter and then get all the information they need. Yeah.
Beautiful. Much appreciated.
Yeah, my pleasure. And I love it. And it reflects also everything what I learned in my life. So over the last 20 years, I delivered lots of workshops also to executive in business or spiritual. But the most common element is the gathering. It's really people coming together. I call this also the amplified field of human resonance. Yeah. And and just by being together and holding space together for each other, it's just without knowing exactly what you just did with the happiness, but the happiness level is increasing. And I see this so in the business world. I do 5 days workshops, and I see after like 2 days, 3 days, it's just the joy and the happiness level increase because people are socializing, they have their experience, their breakthrough, they share, and because of that, others feel the same. And I love that the idea of creating really a happiness community, if you will. It just resonates so much.
Well, I'm very excited about it. I'll keep you in touch.
Yes. Wow, beautiful. Yeah, and so you said the Kinslow System. There's a tagline that says, "We make people happy, and we help people heal."
Yes, and that is it. And it's not like going to a doctor. He gives you a pill, or you go to an exercise physiologist. They give you exercise, and then they keep an eye on. They keep monitoring. This, once you've got the technology, as you well know, it's yours. You don't rely on Frank. You don't rely on the organization. You don't rely on anything. Because what happens is you, the real you, the violin you, starts to come out. Yeah. And then when that happens, you want to share. It's natural for us human beings to share when we are healthy and happy.
Yeah. And that's also what I love about you. It's just really you walk the talk. And you help people to empower themselves. Yeah, it's not that there is some guru and you need certain things all the time just to have a certain state. No, you help people to uncover what's unfolding within them. And as you said, once you have the experience, it will never leave you. You might forget it sometimes or do something else with your mind, but it's so easy to go back. And I have that for 10 years now since we met the first time. And it never left me, no matter what I did.
I love to hear that. That makes me feel good. And this work is work. I mean, the organization and that. But when I hear that, and that's just makes me feel so good. And I very much appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you for everything. Fantastic for this profound conversation, Frank. Lots of insight. Also, I appreciate that you gave us the experience of the exercise, which people will love. And I'm sure we hear more from you within the newsletter and then joining your live webcast. So thank you again for taking the time to be on the show. It was a pleasure. It's a bliss, and I feel very honored. Thank you, Frank.
So good to be back with you again, Nico. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you, and all the best for your future programs. So, namaste and bye for now, Frank.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. Podcast for your soul, your compass, your journey, your light.